Hey, I just wanted to make this quick video and go over how to do the Exhintake mod on an NA16 Miata. It's a little more difficult for us to do it compared to the 1.8s, but it's still not very hard. It's still totally doable. So on the 1.8s, you know that they have the cam angle sensor on the exhaust side over here, which makes it super easy to do this mod because they can just buy another exhaust cam. They cut the end off, they put it on the intake side, they're good to go. For us, it requires an extra step or two. So the hardest part of this whole thing is finding the correct cam. You have to have the exhaust cam out of a 94, 95 Mazda MX-3. That's the cam that we will be using in the intake, and it has to come from one of those 2 years. The previous year, the 93 MX-3 is a single overhead cam, and the 96 MX-3 is OBD2, and it won't work. So it has to be a 94 or 95. So that's step one, get the cam. So the next step is just going to be tearing the engine down to a point, just like you'd be doing a timing belt kit, right? So go ahead and pull off your accessory belts, pull off your timing belt covers, pull off the valve cover, and go ahead and pull your timing belt off. It needs to come off for now. That's relatively simple. There's tons of guides on how to do that. It's just, honestly, it's just more annoying than it is actual work. So just go ahead and pull all that stuff off, and then we'll go on to the next step.
Okay, so I'm here in post. I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but obviously the next logical step would be to take your stock cam out and put the MX-3 cam in its place. While you're removing the stock cam, you want to make sure to sort of do it in order, right? You don't want to just take number 1 cap off, then take the number 2 cap off, and then take the number 3 cap off, etc. You don't want to do that. You're going to put unwanted stress on the cam. Even if you do not plan to reuse the stock intake cam ever, you still don't want it snapping in half in your head. It's just not going to be fun. So make sure you loosen them in sequence. So the first cam cap, crack both the bolts loose. Then go to the number 5 cam cap, crack those 2 loose. Go to the 3, the one in the middle, crack them loose. Then go to 2, crack them loose. Then go to 4, crack them loose. Follow that sequence. It just makes sense. It's just like when you're putting your wheels on, you do a star pattern, right? You just don't go in a full circle. It's just not how you do it. Loosen them up. So go front to back to middle, and then the remaining 2. Loosen them up in that sequence until they're completely off. Pull the cam out. To put the MX-3 cam in, it's the exact opposite, right? So go ahead and put the cam in. Make sure you lube it. You don't want the lobes to be dry, and you don't want where it rides in the head to be dry. Make sure it's lubed. You can use assembly lube, or you can use engine oil, whatever strikes your fancy. Lube up the cam, place it in the head. Then go ahead and put the cam caps back on. Remember, 1 goes in the front, 5 goes in the rear. Pay careful attention to the arrows. There will be arrows on the cam caps. They must face the front of the engine. I have a picture up here, but the arrows face forward. Then do the same thing. Sort of put them on, tighten them down by hand, and then do, I don't know, 1 full turn of each bolt on cam cap number 1. Then go to 5, 1 full turn on each. Then go to 3, 1 full turn. Then do 2, 1 full turn. Then do 4, 1 full turn. Do that continuously in that same order, just very gently, 1 turn, 1 turn, 1 turn, 1 turn. And then once you have all the cam caps sort of snug down, here I will have up the torque spec. Go ahead and torque all these bolts to spec. Don't overdo it. This is an aluminum head. You will strip something. I'm not trying to scare anyone. This is really not that difficult of a process, but you don't want to go in there with your half-inch ratchet and just start cranking on stuff, because you're going to break a bolt, you're going to strip the head, and then you're going to have a bad day. So remember, this is a 10mm bolt going in an aluminum head. Do the torque spec, you'll be fine. Now, once the cam is back in, we can continue on to the next step.
You need to mark your cam gears. You can see that this is the stock exhaust cam in the stock configuration. We're roughly at top dead center, and you can see the alignment marks are obviously where you'd expect them, right? The E is facing upward, as well as this little indentation that's supposed to face 12 o'clock. The I and this marker face the tab on the backing cover. This is exactly what you would expect whenever you time the engine. And then if you look at this cam, you can see that none of the marks really line up, right? The E is facing a random spot downward. The I is facing a random spot to the right. Nothing makes sense. It's because you have to make your new timing marks. So I'll link the forum post in the bottom in the description. But it's really simple. So what you want to do is from the E, right? A lot of people make the mistake and count from the I. That is incorrect. This is an exhaust cam. It does not matter that you are running it as the intake cam. You need to go from the E. It is an exhaust cam. So there's two marks that we need to count, and they're relatively simple. And it looks a little confusing because the cam gear is already on and it's upside down, but it's really not that hard. So from the E, from this mark, you need to count 9 teeth counterclockwise, so to the left. That is your new mark that lines up with the indentation on the back of the timing cover. So that's your new E, right? So 9 teeth. So from here, count 9. You can see here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the new E. That's 9 teeth from the original E. Go back to this E and count 25 teeth, same direction, just still counterclockwise, left. 25 teeth from here, that is your new top mark. So it's 9 to your new alignment mark, 25 to your new top. Do not count right, do not count clockwise, that is incorrect. It is counterclockwise to the left from the E, not the I. Same thing, you still want 19 teeth between the top mark here and the top mark here, and this one now aligns with, it's hard because my sensor's in the way, but you can see that the E on the cam gear right here now lines up with the indentation on the timing cover. Something that helped me set the timing was go ahead and get it set to top dead center. Obviously all of this is going to be off. I don't feel like tearing the entire engine apart just to do this because of obviously already done it. The car's running. I've put 1,000 miles on it. Since I've done the mod, it works perfectly. So get the crank at top dead. Go ahead and align your exhaust cam at top dead. You know, put it around the idler. You know, the idler pulley's right here. Go ahead and put the timing belt on, route it around that, and then zip tie it to this. So once you're sure that your exhaust cam is aligned correctly, throw a zip tie through here around the timing belt and tighten the crap out of it. So that way this cannot slip timing. Then all you have to do is put your adjustable wrench on the hexagonal part of the cam, rotate it until you get it to where you need it, slide the belt over, you're done. You would just want to set this one first because this one's a bit more finicky, but it works. So, you know, once you've got your belt on, you just do everything in reverse, right? You go ahead and throw your timing covers back on, put your valve cover back on, put all your accessory belts on, you're good to go. So once you've got all that back together, there's only really one step left, and that is to set your timing. So once you've done this, your base timing can no longer be 10 degrees. It just can't. The cam angle sensor will be maxed out. It's perfectly normal for that to happen. But with the cam angle sensor maxed out, your base timing is now 14 degrees. So 4 degrees advanced. It's nothing crazy. Miatas feel the best at 14 degrees anyway, so if you have a stock Miata, set the timing to 14 degrees, it'll feel like it's a million times faster. But 14 is now your new bare minimum. You can't go any lower than that. So, you know, once you got the engine fully back together, obviously your intake would be on. I have it off just to show, you know, what's going on. Set your timing. So, you know, short out the pins in the diagnostic box, set your time, set your idle between 850 and 950, and then go ahead and start messing with your timing. And I can go ahead and tell you that your cam angle sensor, you can see I've kind of moved some of the wires out of the way, is going to be maxed out all the way upwards. You can see the large gap at the top of sort of the eccentric area. It needs to be maxed out all the way up, and that will be your 14 degrees. And then from there, you're done. It's super simple. Like I said in the beginning, the hardest part is just finding that cam that you need. I highly recommend everyone do this. The car pulls so much better above, you know, 5,000 RPM. And those of you that plan on going boosted in the future, it'll only help more with boost. So if you can get your hands on the cam, it essentially costs nothing. It literally costs nothing else other than the cost of the cam. I got mine for 40 bucks. So highly recommend it. If you can find the cam, do the Exhintake mod on the 1.6. It's 100% worth it. So with that, I'm out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. This mod is very simple. I hope I didn't make it sound more complicated than it is, because it's honestly not bad. It's the hardest part is just finding the cam. But while you're here, feel free to check out some of my other videos. I have a lot of videos planned for this thing. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.